I still remember the sound of the door closing behind me. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. Just a simple click. But somehow, it felt louder than thunder. Don't come back unless you learn how to respect boundaries, Mom, my son Daniel said, his voice cold, almost unfamiliar. I stood there for a few seconds, staring at the wooden door, the same door I had walked through thousands of times before. The same door I painted when Daniel was just 5 years old. The same door where I had marked his height every birthday. Now it felt like it belonged to someone else. Daniel, I whispered softly, hoping, just hoping, that he would open it again. But there was no response. Only silence. I stepped off the porch slowly, my suitcase in one hand and my purse hanging loosely from my shoulder. The evening air was cool, and the sky was turning a soft shade of orange. Normally, I loved evenings like this. But that day, it felt like the world was moving on without me. At 68 years old, I never imagined I would be standing outside my own home with nowhere to go. Not because of strangers, but because of my own son. I took a few steps forward, then stopped. Maybe he'll call me back. I turned around, my eyes fixed on the door. Nothing. Not even the slightest movement behind the curtains. I kept walking. Daniel wasn't always like this. He used to be the sweetest boy. When he was little, he would hold my hand wherever we went. He was afraid of the dark and would quietly slip into my room at night. "Mom, don't leave me," he would whisper. And I never did. After his father passed away, it was just the two of us. I worked 2 jobs to raise him. There were days I skipped meals so he could eat properly. I sold my jewelry so he could go to college. I gave him everything I had. Or at least, I thought I did. Things started changing after he got married. His wife, Claire, was always polite on the surface, but there was something distant about her. Something that made me feel like I didn't quite belong. At first, it was small things. Comments here and there. "Maybe your mom shouldn't interfere so much. Daniel, we need our own space. Your mom still treats you like a child." I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was normal, that she was just adjusting. But slowly, I began to feel like a guest in my own home. That morning, everything fell apart. It started with something small, like most arguments do. I had rearranged the kitchen cabinets, thinking it would make things easier for everyone. Claire didn't think so. "Why would you touch my kitchen?" she snapped. "I was just trying to help," I said gently. "We don't need your help," she replied, her voice sharp. Daniel walked in just then. "What's going on?" he asked. "Your mom doesn't understand boundaries," Claire said before I could explain. I looked at him, expecting him to smile, to calm things down, to say I didn't mean any harm. But he didn't. Instead, he sighed. "Mom, we've talked about this." My chest tightened. "I live here too," I said quietly, my voice trembling. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said something I never thought I would hear. "Maybe that's the problem." Those words broke something inside me. Claire stayed silent, but the look in her eyes said everything. She had been waiting for this moment. "Mom," Daniel said again, softer this time, "maybe it's better if you find another place. Just for a while." "A while," I repeated. But deep down, I already understood. A while doesn't mean a while. It means goodbye. A car passing by brought me back to the present. I realized I had been walking without thinking, just moving forward without any direction. I checked my phone. No calls. No messages. Not even a simple question asking if I was okay. I kept walking until my legs felt too heavy to carry me any further. I found a bench near a small park and sat down. Children were playing nearby, their laughter filling the air. For a moment, I closed my eyes. It reminded me of Daniel when he was young. Before everything changed. "Ma'am, are you all right?" I opened my eyes slowly. A man stood in front of me. He looked to be in his early 40s, well-dressed, calm, with a quiet kind of confidence. "I'm fine," I said quickly, wiping my eyes. He didn't leave. "Are you sure?" he asked gently. There was something different about his voice. It wasn't pity. It felt genuine. "I just needed to sit for a bit," I added. His eyes moved to the suitcase beside me, then back to my face. He understood. "Do you have somewhere to go?" he asked. I hesitated. Even when you have nothing, pride makes you pretend you do. "Yes," I said, forcing a small smile. He didn't believe me. After a short pause, he said, "Let me help you." I shook my head immediately. "No, I can't." "It's just for tonight," he said calmly. "No pressure. Just a safe place." Safe. I hadn't realized how much I needed that word until he said it. I looked at him carefully. He didn't seem dangerous. In fact, there was something strangely familiar about him, like someone I should recognize but couldn't. "Why would you help me?" I asked. He smiled slightly. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it." There was honesty in his eyes. After a long moment, I nodded. A few minutes later, I was sitting in his car. As we drove away, I looked out the window, not at the road, but in the direction of my home. Or what used to be my home. At that same moment, Daniel stood near the window of the house. He looked outside absent-mindedly. At first, he didn't feel anything. At first, he believed he had done the right thing. But then he noticed something. A car had stopped near me. A man stepped out, picked up my suitcase, and opened the door for me. Daniel frowned slightly. "Who is that?" he muttered under his breath. He kept watching as the car drove away. And slowly, the confidence on his face began to disappear. Because for the first time since he closed the door, something didn't feel right. Something felt wrong. And deep inside, a strange thought began to grow. Maybe this wasn't the end of the story. Maybe this was the beginning of something he wasn't ready for. The car ride was quiet at first. I sat there, holding my purse tightly in my lap, unsure of what to say. The city lights passed by outside the window, blurring into long streaks of yellow and white. Every now and then, I glanced at the man driving. He seemed calm. Focused. Not the kind of person who asked unnecessary questions. And somehow, that made me feel a little more at ease. "You don't have to be afraid," he said suddenly, his eyes still on the road. "I'm not," I replied quickly, though my voice didn't sound very convincing. He gave a small smile, as if he understood more than I said. "My name is Adrian," he added. I hesitated for a second. "Margaret." "It's nice to meet you, Margaret." Nice to meet. Strange words for a situation like this. But still. I nodded. After a few minutes, the silence returned. But this time, it didn't feel as heavy. Instead, it felt thoughtful. Like both of us were carrying stories we hadn't shared yet. We drove for about 20 minutes before the car slowed down and turned into a wide, quiet street. Large houses lined both sides, each one more beautiful than the last. I frowned slightly. This doesn't look like a place for just anyone, I said. Adrian didn't answer right away. He simply parked the car in front of a modern, elegant house with soft lights glowing from inside. "We're here," he said. I looked at the house, then back at him. "This is your home?" "Yes." I felt a sudden wave of hesitation. "I don't think I should." "You can," he said gently. "And you should." There was something in his tone that made it hard to argue. Slowly, I stepped out of the car. The house was even more beautiful up close. Clean, warm, and peaceful. Nothing like the emptiness I felt inside. Adrian picked up my suitcase without asking and led the way to the door. When he opened it, a soft, welcoming light filled the entrance. "Come in," he said. I stepped inside carefully, almost as if I didn't belong there. But instead of feeling out of place, I felt something unexpected. Comfort. The living room was simple yet elegant. A large couch, a bookshelf, a few framed photos on the wall. My eyes paused on those photos. There was one of Adrian as a young man, standing beside an older woman. He had his arm around her, and both of them were smiling. Really smiling. "Your mother?" I asked quietly. Adrian followed my gaze. "Yes." There was a brief silence. "She raised me alone," he added. I looked at the photo again. Something about it stirred a feeling deep inside me. Before I could say anything, Adrian spoke again. "You must be tired. I've prepared the guest room. You can rest there." "You prepared it?" I asked, surprised. He nodded. "I had a feeling I might need it someday." His words were simple, but they carried meaning I didn't fully understand yet. He showed me to a quiet room at the end of the hallway. It was neat, warm, and welcoming. "Take your time," he said. "If you need anything, I'm right outside." I thanked him softly. As he walked away, I sat down on the bed. For the first time since morning, I allowed myself to breathe. Back at the house, Daniel couldn't focus on anything. Claire was talking to him, but her voice sounded distant, like noise he couldn't quite process. "Daniel, you did the right thing," she said. "We need our space." He nodded slightly. But his eyes kept drifting toward the window. He couldn't shake off the image of that man. The way he helped his mother. The way she got into the car without resisting. It didn't feel normal. "Who do you think that was?" Daniel asked suddenly. Claire shrugged. "Probably some stranger. People like her attract sympathy. People like her." The words didn't sit right with him. "That's my mother," he said quietly. Claire sighed. "Daniel, you're overthinking this." Maybe he was. But something inside him refused to settle. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of fresh coffee. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then everything came back. The argument. The door. The silence. I sat up slowly and looked around the room. It still felt unreal. After washing up, I stepped out into the hallway. Adrian was in the kitchen. "Good morning," he said with a small smile. "Good morning." There was already a cup of tea waiting on the table. "For you," he said. I stared at it, surprised. How did you know I prefer tea over coffee? He paused for a moment. Then he said, I didn't. I just guessed. But something in his eyes told me it wasn't a guess. I sat down quietly. For a while, we didn't say much. Then finally, I asked the question that had been on my mind. Adrian, have we met before? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he leaned back slightly and looked at me carefully. Not exactly, he said. Not exactly? My confusion grew. Then why do I feel like you know me? He took a slow breath. Because in a way, I do. My heart skipped. What do you mean? He stood up, walked toward the shelf, and picked up an old file. When he placed it in front of me, my hands trembled slightly. Open it, he said softly. I hesitated, then slowly opened the file. Inside were papers. Old papers. And then a photograph slipped out. The moment I saw it, my breath stopped. It was a picture from years ago. A younger version of me. Standing outside a small building. And beside me, a little boy. Thin. Weak. Scared. But smiling. I stared at the photo, my hands shaking. I remember this, I whispered. It was from the shelter. From the place where I used to volunteer after my husband passed away. I used to bring food, clothes, sometimes toys. I helped children who had no one. And that boy? I looked up slowly at Adrian. My eyes filled with tears. No, I whispered. He nodded gently. Yes. My heart pounded. You. I was that boy, he said quietly. The room felt still. Completely still. You were the one who gave me my first warm meal in days, he continued. You sat with me, talked to me, treated me like I mattered. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I thought you wouldn't remember, he added. I didn't, until now, I said, my voice breaking. He smiled softly. I never forgot. Silence filled the space between us. But it wasn't empty. It was full of something deep. Something powerful. Gratitude. Connection. Fate. At that same moment, Daniel stood outside Adrian's house. He had followed the address using the car's license plate. He didn't know why he came. Maybe guilt. Maybe curiosity. Maybe something else. He stepped closer to the gate and looked inside. And then he saw his mother. Sitting inside the house. Safe. Comfortable. Talking to a man. But it wasn't just that. It was the way she looked. Calm. Respected. Valued. Daniel's chest tightened. And for the first time, he felt something he hadn't felt before. Regret. Daniel stood outside the gate for several minutes, his hand resting on the cold metal bars. He didn't move. He wasn't even sure why he had come. All he knew was that something inside him wouldn't let him stay home. Something kept pulling him here. He looked through the gate again. There she was. His mother. Sitting inside that house, talking, even smiling. Smiling. That was the part that unsettled him the most. Just yesterday, she had been standing outside his door with nowhere to go. And now, she looked at peace. More at peace than she had been in a long time. Daniel swallowed hard. A strange mix of emotions tightened in his chest, confusion, discomfort, and something deeper he didn't want to admit. He pressed the bell. A soft chime echoed inside. A few seconds later, the door opened. Adrian stood there. Calm. Composed. Observant. Yes, he asked. Daniel straightened slightly. I'm here for my mother. Adrian didn't react immediately. His eyes studied Daniel for a brief moment, as if reading something beneath the surface. Come in, he said simply. That wasn't the response Daniel expected. He stepped inside cautiously. The house felt warm. Quiet. Peaceful. Too peaceful. His eyes quickly scanned the room until they landed on her. Mom. Margaret turned. For a moment, her face lit up in surprise. Daniel. She stood up slowly. You came. There was hope in her voice. Hope that hit Daniel harder than he expected. He hesitated. I just wanted to check if you're okay. The words felt weak even as he said them. I'm fine, she replied gently. I'm safe. Safe. That word again. Daniel nodded, but his eyes shifted toward Adrian. And you are? He asked, his tone slightly sharper now. Adrian, he replied calmly. That doesn't tell me much. It tells you enough, Adrian said, his voice steady. The tension in the room thickened. Margaret stepped forward slightly. Daniel, please. But he didn't take his eyes off Adrian. How do you know my mother? Daniel asked. There was a pause. Then Adrian answered, a long time ago, she helped me when I had no one. Daniel frowned. What does that mean? It means, Adrian said, that your mother showed kindness to someone the world had forgotten. The words hung in the air. Daniel didn't like the way they made him feel. And now what? He replied defensively. You're repaying the favor? Adrian's expression didn't change. Yes. Just one word. Simple. Direct. And heavier than anything Daniel had said. Daniel let out a small, uneasy laugh. So what? You just pick up strangers from the street now. They're not strangers when you remember what they did for you, Adrian replied. Silence. Sharp and uncomfortable. Margaret looked between them, her hands trembling slightly. Daniel, that's enough, she said softly. But Daniel wasn't finished. He turned to her. Mom, you don't even know this man. She took a slow breath. I didn't, she said. But now I do. Her voice was calm. Certain. That certainty shook him. You're really going to trust him over your own son? He asked. The question came out harsher than he intended. Margaret flinched slightly. But then, something changed in her expression. For the first time, she didn't look hurt. She looked honest. Daniel, she said quietly, you closed the door on me. Her words landed like a weight. You didn't ask where I would go. You didn't ask if I would be safe. You just let me walk away. Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came out. I didn't want to leave, she continued. That was my home too. The room felt smaller now. Tighter. I was just trying to, Daniel started. Set boundaries, she finished gently. He looked down. Because that's exactly what he had said. I understand that, she added. But there's a difference between setting boundaries and pushing someone out like they don't belong anymore. Each word hit him harder than the last. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Adrian stepped forward slightly. She doesn't have to go anywhere, he said calmly. Not unless she wants to. Daniel looked at him sharply. And who are you to decide that? I'm not deciding, Adrian replied. She is. All eyes turned to Margaret. She stood there quietly. But inside, a storm was building. For years, she had stayed silent. For years, she had adjusted, compromised, stepped back. For her son. For his happiness. But now, for the first time, she realized something. She had a choice. She hesitated. Daniel's heart started pounding. Mom, let's just go home, he said quickly. We'll fix things. But even as he said it, he knew something had changed. She looked at him with soft eyes. But there was strength in them now. Is it still my home? She asked. The question froze him. He didn't have an answer. Not a real one. I don't want to feel like a burden anymore, Daniel, she continued. I don't want to feel like I'm in the way. You're not. I was, she said gently. Her honesty cut through him. Deep. Painful. Real. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice didn't break. I love you, she said. I always will. Daniel's chest tightened. But love shouldn't feel like this. Silence. Heavy silence. The kind that forces you to face things you've been avoiding. Daniel looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time, he saw not just his mother, but a person. A person who had given everything. And was now standing there, asking for something simple. Respect. Dignity. A place to belong. His throat felt dry. I didn't realize, he whispered. And for once, that wasn't an excuse. It was the truth. Outside, the wind picked up slightly, rustling the trees. Inside, everything had changed. The balance. The roles. The power. And Daniel knew. No matter what happened next, things would never go back to the way they were. The silence in the room felt heavier than anything that had been said. Daniel stood there, unable to move, unable to look away from his mother. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel like the one in control. He felt small. I didn't realize, he repeated softly. Margaret looked at him, her eyes filled with both love and pain. I know, she said gently. That's what hurts the most. Her words weren't angry. They were honest. And somehow, that made them even harder to hear. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, his thoughts tangled. I thought I was doing the right thing, he said. I thought we just needed space. Space is not the same as loneliness, Margaret replied. That line hit him deeply. Because now, he understood the difference. I never wanted you to feel like you didn't belong, he added quickly. But I did, she said quietly. Again, no anger. Just truth. Daniel looked down at the floor. He didn't know how to fix this. He didn't even know if it could be fixed. I'm sorry, Mom. The words came out slowly. But they were real. No excuses. No justifications. Just, sorry. Margaret closed her eyes for a moment. She had waited a long time to hear those words. But now that they were finally here, they didn't fix everything. They couldn't erase what had happened. But they meant something. Something important. She stepped closer to him. I forgive you, she said softly. Daniel looked up, surprised. Just like that, he asked. She gave a faint, bittersweet smile. You're my son. I don't know how not to forgive you. His eyes filled with tears. But forgiveness doesn't mean everything goes back to how it was, she added. And there it was. The truth he wasn't ready for, but needed to hear. Daniel's voice shook slightly. Does that mean you're not coming back? Margaret didn't answer immediately. She looked around the house, then at Adrian, then back at her son. I don't know, she said honestly. Not right now. Daniel's chest tightened. But I do know this, she continued. If I ever come back, it won't be as someone who feels unwanted. He nodded slowly. He understood. Or at least, he was starting to. I'll change, he said quickly. I promise. Margaret looked at him with gentle eyes. Change doesn't happen in promises, Daniel, she said. It happens in actions. He swallowed hard. Because deep down, he knew she was right. There was a long pause. Then Daniel turned slightly toward Adrian. For a moment, it looked like he wanted to say something, but didn't know how. Finally, he spoke. Thank you for helping her. The words were difficult for him, but sincere. Adrian gave a small nod. She helped me once, he said. I'm just returning what was never forgotten. Daniel looked at him carefully. For the first time, without judgment. Without suspicion. And maybe, even with a little respect. I didn't know, Daniel said quietly. Now you do, Adrian replied. Silence settled again, but this time, it wasn't heavy. It was calm. Accepting. Real. Daniel turned back to his mother. I should go, he said. Margaret's heart ached slightly at those words. But she nodded. Take care of yourself, she said softly. You too. Mom. He hesitated for a moment. Then stepped forward and hugged her. Tightly. Like he hadn't done in years. Margaret closed her eyes, holding him just as tight. For a brief moment. It felt like the past. Like nothing had changed. But when they pulled away, they both knew everything had. And maybe that wasn't a bad thing. Daniel walked toward the door slowly. Before leaving, he stopped, turned back, and looked at her one last time. Not with frustration. Not with distance. But with something new. Understanding. Then he left. The door closed softly behind him. This time, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like a pause. A space between what was and what could still become. Margaret stood there quietly. Adrian walked closer. Are you okay? He asked gently. She nodded. Yes. I think I am. And for the first time in a long while. She truly meant it. She wasn't standing outside anymore. She wasn't lost. She wasn't unwanted. She had found something unexpected. A place where she was valued. A reminder that kindness never disappears. It comes back. Sometimes years later. Sometimes when you need it the most. Days passed. Then weeks. Daniel started calling. Not out of obligation. But out of care. Short conversations at first. Awkward. Careful. But real. He visited occasionally. Alone. Without excuses. Without pressure. And slowly. Step by step. He began to change. Not because he said he would, but because he chose to. One afternoon, as sunlight filled the living room, Margaret sat quietly with a cup of tea. She looked peaceful, stronger, different. Adrian walked by and smiled. "You look like someone who's found something," he said. She smiled softly. "Maybe I have." "What is it?" She looked out the window, her eyes calm. "Myself." And somewhere not too far away, Daniel stood outside his own house. The same door. The same place. But he wasn't the same person anymore. Because now he understood something he never did before. A home isn't just walls and a roof. It's the people inside it. And if you push them away, you might lose more than you ever expected.